Excellent. All right. Good afternoon. Starting off with a note on Ukraine from our humanitarian colleagues on the ground who tell us that parts of Kyiv only have power supplies for about 3 to 5 hours every day. This is obviously impacting water and heating system as well as disrupting basic services. To meet the growing needs for heat and power amid the energy crisis, our partners are delivering generators to hospitals, schools, heating points, and collective centers. Some 770 generators have been delivered or are being installed. This includes, as of early December, more than 330 generators that our partners had provided to health facilities across Ukraine, mainly in eastern Kharkivska, northern Kievska, and Chernivtska Oblast. Additional generators have either been ordered or on their way to delivery. Turning to Afghanistan, the World Health Organization today said Afghanistan has vaccinated 5.36 million Afghan children aged 9 to 59 months against measles. This is part of a nationwide vaccination campaign supported by WHO and the UN Children's Fund that was held from 26 November to 12 December. 6.1 million children aged 0 to 59 have also received oral polio vaccines, and they have hit every province in Afghanistan. WHO notes that in 2022, many measles outbreaks were reported in the country. As of November of this year, Afghanistan confirmed 5,484 measles cases, with approximately 300 deaths attributed to measles infection. Also want to highlight some of the work other UN agencies have been doing in support of women and girls in Afghanistan. Our colleagues at the World Food Program tell us that this year they have supported nearly 12 million women and girls through activities to prevent and treat malnutrition. Over 1.7 million were pregnant or lactating women. WFP also offered school feeding for 400,000 girls. That was under the Spotlight initiative backed by the European Union and the UN. Several entities, including UN Women, UNICEF, and the UN Development Program, and UNFPA, provided essential services to 30,000 women in safe spaces designed for women and girls. The initiatives also enabled an emergency hotline that helped almost 117,000 women, girls, and youths, and nearly 27,000 women received reproductive health services in 3 priority provinces. For its part, UNESCO, the UN's scientific and educational organization, provided basic general literacy programs to 25,000 youth and adults, half of them girls and women. Also in 2022, UNICEF reached 300,000 children, half of them girls, through 20,000 community-based classes. 90,000 women and girls have accessed nearly 100 UNICEF-supported safe spaces for girls and women across 16 provinces where they receive psychosocial support and referrals to other basic services. Maybe we should do it like they do at the opera. You know, once the show's started, you have to wait for the intermission to come in. What? After the first act, exactly. Turning to South Sudan, the Undersecretary General for Humanitarian Affairs, Martin Griffiths, decided today to allocate $14 million from the Central Emergency Response Fund, also known as SURF, to support people impacted by the increased violence and severe flooding. These funds will support direct humanitarian assistance to more than 260,000 people, and our partners will be able to scale up existing cash programs, protection, health, education, water, and sanitation, as well as hygiene activities. In 2023, 9.4 million of the most vulnerable people in South Sudan will need urgent assistance and protection. That is up to $8.9 million last year. And as you know, the Deputy Secretary General, Amina Mohammed, spoke to council members yesterday afternoon on Haiti. She stressed that it's time to step up and turn the current crisis into an opportunity for Haiti and its people to bounce back stronger. She urged every country with the capacity to do so to give urgent consideration to the Haitian government's request for international specialized armed forces to help restore security and alleviate the humanitarian crisis. The Secretary General's Special Representative, Helen Lalim, briefed via video conference. She described how insecurity and violence have surged in the country this year, including kidnappings, killings, and rapes. She also said the economic situation is catastrophic and that cholera cases have reached 15,000 throughout the country. She added that the mission continues its efforts to advance political dialogue through the National Consensus document. Their remarks were shared with you. Also this morning, just want to note the Security Council adopted a draft resolution to renew the mandate of the UN Disengagement Observer Force, UNDOF, for a period of 6 months to June 30th of 2023. That was adopted unanimously, which is how we like it. Quick update from South Africa, where our team, led by Resident Coordinator Nelson Mufu, is working with authorities to respond to our recent measles outbreak. As of this Tuesday, there were 245 confirmed cases, almost 75% of them children under the age of 9. Through funding, the government of Germany and Japan, as well as UNICEF, is supporting the procurement of cold chain equipment that will benefit about 2,000 health facilities. Training for healthcare professionals is scheduled to kick off early next year. For its part, the WHO has teams in each of the affected provinces and is developing provincial plans and providing training on measles vaccination and outbreak preparedness. I want to flag an important report regarding Latin America and the Caribbean. The International Labor Organization today said 34.5% of people over 65 in the Latin American Caribbean region have no income. The new Special Protection Overview for the region focuses on pension systems and finds that improvements in coverage, sufficiency, and sustainability are essential to provide economic security, particularly to those most affected by the crisis like the COVID pandemic. The International Labor Organization said the proportion of older people without labor, income, or pension increased from almost 40% in 2019 from 31.9% in 2019 to 34.6% in 2020 and 34.5% in 2021. More information online. Just a programming note that this is the last briefing we will have this year. We will not brief tomorrow. We will not brief Tuesday through Friday next week. We will, however, have people in the office. I also just want to do a little shout out to our colleagues at C2C, which is a transcription company, which has been transcribing our briefings and making sure that we get transcripts to you guys quickly and, most importantly, accurately. They, unfortunately, will no longer be doing this service. We're getting somebody else starting January, but we want to thank Jennifer Bonfilio and her team for her work. Voila. Deji.
Happy last briefing of 2022.
It's only last briefing after the last answer.
Okay. So my first question is concerning Ukraine. Has any UN official had any conversation recently with the Russian side concerning the Ukrainian conflict development?
Well, the short answer, yes, on the broader issues, notably on the grain initiative, on the fertilizer initiative. Our colleagues, especially Rebecca Greenspan at UNCTAD, Martin Griffiths at OCHA, are in regular touch with counterparts from the Russian Federation, and the Secretary General is often on the phone with Russian officials, and also, of course, with Ambassador Nebenzia here.
I mean, according to Russian media reports, there should be a video call between the UN officials with the Russian high-ranking officials, which should happen probably 2 days or a day ago.
Yes, I mean there was. And this is part of the regular contacts that I was referring to.
Who did that?
It was Martin Griffiths and Rebecca Greenspan. They held consultations virtually yesterday. Was yesterday the 21st?
Yes.
Yesterday, and the Russian side was led by the Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs, Sergei Vershinin. This is part of the of their engagement with the Russian Federation regarding the two agreements that were signed in Istanbul in July of last year.
So have they talked anything rather than the initiative?
No,
For
I mean this was
example-
focused on those two agreements
Okay.
on the initiative.
Okay, so basically, it's like you said, it's a regular engagement.
Yeah.
So will there be any other scheduled engagements with Russians or Ukrainians this year by the United Nations? I mean, high-ranking officials.
You know, will there be another meeting exactly like this before the end of the year? I don't know. There may be, but I doubt it. But I have to tell, I just want to underscore that there is really continuous engagement. I mean, from Martin's side, from Rebecca Greenspan's side, from the Secretary General. That also involves contacts with the European Union, with the U.S., all this on the grain initiative, but especially right now on the facilitation of Russian fertilizer and grain to get that out to market.
Today, the Russian President, Mr. Putin, said, and I quote, "Our goal is not to spin the flywheel of military conflict, but on the contrary, to end this war. We're striving for this and will continue to strive." And he said that this war can only end by peaceful negotiation. And he said the sooner the better, and the Ukrainian side knows it. What's your response to his remarks?
Listen, again, I'm not going to do color commentary on comments that are made on a regular basis. You know what our aim is. Our aim is to see this conflict end in line with the principles of international law and the UN Charter.
My last question. I'm sorry. I feels like Edie.
She's
my
not
last
here.
question.
Somebody has to do her job.
I think
Yeah.
yesterday James touched a little bit on this. Yesterday, Security Council passed a resolution on Myanmar, which marks the first resolution that adopted after the coup by the military, Myanmar military. So, what's the reaction from the Secretary General on this?
We're pleased that the Security Council adopted this resolution. We've expressed our concern, continuous concern. We've also been giving regular updates from what our country team has been trying to do on the ground, the challenges they face. So it was a very important resolution that was adopted.
By the way, your voice recovered.
Yeah, well, it's, yes, it'll... Thank you. All right, if anything not covered by Deji, yes.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yep. So the U.S. ambassador issued a statement just now saying the U.S. confirmed arms transfer from the DPRK to Russian Wagner Group. If you are aware of that statement, could you give us some comment on that?
I have not seen that statement. Obviously, issues of weapons transfers by the DPRK will, I'm sure, no doubt be looked at through the sanctions regime. But I have no further information. Yeah. Yes, sir.
Sorry, Steph, I have a year-ender question. Can you give us, please, an overarching look at where things stand at the end of the year with regard to the SDGs in general? And is there any particular SDG that's causing particular concerns here? And what would you say the utmost priority on that level to be tackled in 2023?
Well, the challenge that we've seen over the last year, and really starting with the COVID, the outbreak of COVID, is that it has negatively impacted our efforts, member states' efforts, to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And we've gone backwards in a number of areas, including education, health, human rights, climate. So we would hope this year has not been a great year for the SDGs, to put it mildly. We hope that next year there will be recommitments, that there will be changes in the international financial institutions, which the Secretary General has been very clear favors Western countries, favors rich countries, limits the ability of developing countries to access the financing that they need to help their people achieve the SDGs. Okay. On that note, wish you all the best for the year that will be and the holidays, and I will let Paulina take it over.